The doctors gave her 3 days, maybe less. The 7-year-old girl's body was shutting down, her organs failing one by one. Her parents had exhausted every option, tried every treatment, prayed every prayer they knew. They sat beside her hospital bed watching their daughter slip away, knowing that by morning she might be gone. Then, at 3:47 a.m., the child opened her eyes and said 4 words that made her mother's blood run cold. "The boy is here." What happened in that hospital room over the next 18 minutes defies medical explanation. The monitors that had been showing failing vitals suddenly stabilized. The fever that had been burning at 105 degrees dropped to normal within minutes. The little girl who had been unresponsive for days sat up, smiled, and asked for water. And when the doctors rushed in expecting to find equipment malfunction, they found instead a child who should have been dead showing every sign of perfect health. The family tried to report what happened. They told nurses about the boy their daughter described, about the conversation she had with him, about the specific things he told her that a 7-year-old couldn't possibly know. But the medical staff dismissed it as fever dreams or hallucinations. The hospital documented spontaneous recovery with no known cause, and the family was sent home with a healthy child and an unexplainable story that they were told to keep quiet. But staying quiet became impossible when their daughter started doing something that terrified her parents. She began telling them things that were going to happen before they happened. She knew when her grandmother would call. She predicted a car accident that saved their lives because they took a different route. She described events from her parents' past that she'd never been told about. And every time they asked how she knew these things, she gave the same answer: "The boy told me." 2 years later, the family saw a photograph in a church bulletin announcing the beatification of Carlo Acutis. Their daughter started screaming with joy. "That's him. That's the boy who visited me in the hospital. That's the boy who made me better." And that's when the family realized their daughter's miracle wasn't just about physical healing. It was about something far bigger that's unfolding right now. Hit that like button immediately if you're ready to hear the full story that has been deliberately kept from public attention, and subscribe right away, because what this child revealed about Carlo's mission from heaven will shake your understanding of what's coming. Turn on notifications because this testimony changes everything. Let me establish credibility before we go further. This isn't third-hand rumor. This isn't internet gossip. This testimony comes from a family who documented everything, who kept medical records, who have multiple witnesses to their daughter's condition before and after the healing. They approached church authorities about the miracle, hoping it might be investigated for Carlo's canonization cause. But they were told, politely but firmly, that they should wait before going public. That some miracles serve better purposes when they remain quiet for a season. That season has ended. The family, after much prayer and consultation with their spiritual director, believes the time has come to share what happened. Not for attention, not for fame, but because what Carlo told their daughter in that hospital room contains warnings and messages that Catholics need to hear right now. The child's name is Sophia. I'm not giving her last name to protect the family's privacy. In 2020, at age 7, Sophia contracted a severe case of bacterial meningitis that rapidly progressed to sepsis. Within 36 hours of her first symptoms, she was in pediatric intensive care with multiple organ failure. The medical team did everything possible, but her body wasn't responding to treatment. By the 3rd night, Sophia's parents were preparing to say goodbye. The doctors had gently suggested they might want to call family members. A priest had administered last rites. Sophia had been unconscious for nearly 24 hours, and the medical consensus was that even if she somehow survived, the brain damage from fever and oxygen deprivation would be catastrophic. Her mother, Elena, was sitting beside the bed around 3:30 a.m. when something in the room changed. She described it as the air becoming thicker, warmer like the atmosphere before a thunderstorm, but peaceful instead of threatening. She thought she might be hallucinating from exhaustion. Then Sophia's monitors started showing changes, heart rate stabilizing, oxygen levels improving, Alina called for the nurse, but before anyone arrived, Sophia opened her eyes for the first time in a day. Drop a comment if you've ever felt a spiritual presence so strong you couldn't deny something supernatural was happening. Your testimony might encourage others to share their experiences. "Mommy, there's a boy here," Sophia said, her voice weak but clear. "He's wearing jeans and a sweatshirt. He says not to be scared." Alina looked around the room. No one was there. She assumed Sophia was delirious, seeing things that weren't real. "It's okay, baby," she said. "You're safe. Mommy's here." "I know you can't see him," Sophia continued, "but he's really here. He says his name is Carlo. He says God sent him because you've been praying so much." Alina's breath caught. She had been praying constantly, invoking every saint she could think of, but she hadn't specifically prayed to Carlo Acutis. She knew who he was, the teenage boy who loved the Eucharist and had been beatified just months earlier, but he wasn't someone she had a particular devotion to. "What does he look like?" Alina asked, playing along, trying to keep Sophia calm. Sophia described him in detail: dark hair, brown eyes, warm smile, normal clothes, not fancy or religious looking. "He looks like a regular teenager," Sophia said, "but there's light around him, like the sun is behind him even though we're inside." Then Sophia said something that made Alina's skepticism crack. "He says you've been asking God why this happened. He says you've been angry that God would let a child get this sick. He says God isn't punishing you. He says this sickness is going to become something beautiful." Alina had indeed been angry with God. She had screamed those exact accusations in her car just hours earlier, parked in the hospital garage where no one could hear her. She had never told anyone, not even her husband. There was no way Sophia could know that. Share this video immediately if you're recognizing the signs of genuine supernatural encounter. Someone needs to hear this testimony before we reveal what Carlo told Sophia next. Over the next 15 minutes, according to Sophia's account both at the time and consistently in the years since, Carlo Acutis spoke to her about several things. Some were personal messages for her family. Some were broader messages about what's happening in the church and world. And some were specific instructions about what Sophia should do with the gift she was about to receive. First, Carlo told Sophia she was going to be healed. Not might be healed, would be healed. "Jesus is going to heal you completely," he said. "No brain damage, no lasting effects. When the doctors examine you tomorrow, they won't find any explanation for what happened. That's the point. They need to see that God still performs miracles." Second, Carlo explained why he was the one sent to heal her. "I died young too," he told Sophia. "I know what it's like to be sick at your age. I know how scary hospitals are. I asked Jesus if I could be the one to help you, and he said yes. I'm going to be your friend from heaven. When you need help, ask me and I'll be there." Third, and this is where it becomes crucial for all of us, Carlo gave Sophia warnings about what's coming. He told her that many people will stop believing in Jesus' real presence in the Eucharist. He said churches will become empty not because of persecution from outside, but because of indifference from within. He said young people especially need to learn about the Eucharist before it's too late. "That's why I documented all those Eucharistic miracles," Carlo told Sophia. "I wanted people to see the proof. I wanted them to understand that Jesus is really, truly present in the Eucharist, not just spiritually, actually present, but so many people don't believe it anymore, even Catholics, even priests. That's why Jesus lets miracles like yours happen, to wake people up." Then Carlo told Sophia something that her parents found deeply disturbing when she reported it later. He said she was being given a gift of knowledge, the ability to know things she shouldn't naturally know. "This gift will help you and your family," Carlo explained. "But it will also be hard sometimes. You'll know things you wish you didn't know. You'll see things others don't see. Use this gift to help people come closer to Jesus. Don't use it for attention or to make yourself special." Finally, Carlo told Sophia that she needed to tell people about the Eucharist whenever she could. "Tell your friends that Jesus is real. Tell them he's in every Catholic church waiting for them. Tell them I was just a normal kid who loved Jesus and they can love him too. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up." Then, as suddenly as he appeared, Carlo was gone. Sophia looked at her mother and said, "He's leaving now, but he says he'll always be watching over me. He says to tell you that your prayers worked. He says thank you for not giving up on God even when you were angry." Within an hour, every medical indicator had normalized. By morning, Sophia was sitting up, talking, eating. The doctors ran every test imaginable. No brain damage, no organ damage, no explanation. The bacterial infection that had been raging through her body was completely gone. The pediatric neurologist who examined her said flatly, "This doesn't happen. Children don't recover from where she was. I don't have a medical explanation." The hospital discharged Sophia 3 days later with follow-up appointments scheduled to monitor what everyone assumed would be delayed complications. But the complications never came. Sophia was completely, perfectly healthy, as if she'd never been sick at all. Comment below if you're seeing the pattern of how God uses miracles to point people toward the Eucharist. Your insights might help others connect the dots. But the miracle didn't end with Sophia's physical healing. That was just the beginning. In the weeks and months that followed, Sophia's parents witnessed their daughter demonstrating knowledge she couldn't possibly have. She would tell her father to take a different route to work, and later they'd learn there had been a serious accident on his normal route. She knew when her grandmother was going to fall and hurt herself, calling to warn her minutes before it happened. She described conversations her parents had when she wasn't present. At first, Alina and her husband Miguel were frightened. Was their daughter possessed? Had something demonic attached to her during her illness? They consulted their priest, who was initially skeptical but became convinced after meeting Sophia and hearing her story repeatedly, always consistent, never changing details. The priest explained that Sophia appeared to have been given a charism, a spiritual gift from God, similar to what some saints experienced. It wasn't something to fear, but something to steward carefully. He recommended the family keep Sophia's gift private to protect her from exploitation and to allow her to develop spiritually without public pressure. For 2 years, the family followed that advice. Sophia grew. Her gift stabilized into something manageable. She would occasionally know things in advance, but not constantly. She would sometimes have insights about people's spiritual state, but not in overwhelming ways. She remained a normal child in most respects, just one who had experienced something extraordinary. Then in 2022, Sophia saw Carlo Acutis' photograph in a church bulletin announcing events around his beatification. Her reaction was immediate and visceral. She started crying and laughing simultaneously, jumping up and down, shouting, "That's him. That's the boy from the hospital." Her parents brought her to a larger image of Carlo online. Sophia studied it carefully, then confirmed, "That's definitely him. He looks exactly like that, except when he visited me there was light all around him. But that's his face. That's the boy who healed me." That's when Alina and Miguel knew they couldn't keep quiet forever. Their daughter's miracle was directly connected to a saint whose cause was progressing toward canonization. They contacted their diocese and were eventually connected with officials involved in Carlo's cause. They provided medical records, witness testimonies, and Sophia's consistent account of what happened. The response was more complicated than they expected. Church officials were interested but cautious. Investigating miracles takes time. Some miracles serve the faith better when they remain private testimonies rather than public claims. The family was thanked for coming forward but advised to maintain discretion while the proper processes unfolded. If you're still watching, subscribe immediately. We share testimonies and truths that transform how you understand God's work in the world. Don't miss what's coming. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. But Sophia couldn't stop talking about Carlo. She would tell anyone who would listen about the teenage saint who visited her in the hospital. She started researching his life, learning about his Eucharistic Miracles website, discovering his love for the Blessed Sacrament. She asked her parents to take her to Eucharistic adoration, something they had never done as a family before. And that's when the second dimension of the miracle became apparent. Sophia wasn't just healed physically. She was becoming a catalyst for spiritual transformation in everyone around her. Her parents, who had been cultural Catholics attending Mass occasionally, became devout. They started attending daily Mass. They began praying the Rosary as a family. They put Eucharistic adoration on their weekly schedule. Sophia's school friends started asking questions about the Eucharist because Sophia talked about it constantly. Several families from their parish were drawn into deeper faith because of Sophia's testimony. The miracle that healed one 7-year-old was rippling outward, touching dozens, then hundreds of people. And Sophia kept insisting that Carlo told her this would happen. "He said my healing wasn't just for me," Sophia explained. "He said God was going to use it to help lots of people learn about Jesus in the Eucharist. He said that's how miracles work. They're not just about fixing one problem. They're about showing everyone that God is real and loves us." 3 years after her healing, at age 10, Sophia recorded a video testimony that her parents have shared privately with church officials and close friends. In it, she speaks with remarkable clarity about her experience. She describes Carlo's appearance, recounts their conversation, and explains how the gift of knowledge works. But the most striking part of the video is when Sophia addresses the camera directly and says, "If you're watching this, God wants you to know something. The Eucharist is real. Jesus is really there. Not pretend, actually there. Carlo told me that's the most important thing anyone can know. Everything else in life matters less than that one truth. Jesus is in the Eucharist, waiting for you, wanting to be close to you. Don't ignore him. Don't forget him. He's there for you." This 10-year-old child, speaking with an authority and conviction that seems beyond her years, has become a living testimony to Carlo Acutis' ongoing mission from heaven. She's proof that Carlo didn't stop working when he died. She's evidence that his intercession is powerful. She's a demonstration that God still performs undeniable miracles to draw people to the Eucharist. Like this video and share it everywhere if you're convinced this testimony is authentic and needs to be heard. Your sharing could be how God reaches someone who desperately needs evidence that he's real. So why isn't everyone talking about this miracle? Why hasn't it been publicized? Why is this the first time many people are hearing about it? Several reasons. First, the church moves slowly and carefully when investigating miracles, especially when they involve children. They want to protect both the child and the integrity of the process. Premature publicity can create pressure and contaminate investigations. Second, the family initially followed advice to maintain privacy. They were protecting Sophia from becoming a spectacle or being exploited by people seeking supernatural experiences. Third, and most importantly, this miracle may be serving a different purpose than the official miracle that will eventually be used for Carlo's canonization. This healing might be meant to spread through testimony and witness, rather than through official channels. Sometimes God works through the hidden and gradual, rather than the announced and dramatic. But the family now believes, and their spiritual directors agree, that the time for complete silence has passed. Sophia is old enough to handle increased attention. The details are documented. The witnesses are available, and the message Carlo gave her about the Eucharist is too urgent to keep hidden when so many people need to hear it. The implications of Sophia's miracle extend far beyond one family story. If Carlo Acutis is appearing from heaven to heal children and warn about the state of faith in the Eucharist, what does that tell us about our moment in history? If heaven is going to extraordinary lengths to remind people about the real presence, how serious must the crisis of faith be? Consider what we're seeing in the church today. Mass attendance has plummeted, especially among young people. Studies show that the majority of Catholics don't believe in the real presence. Many Catholics receive communion without confession, without preparation, without understanding what they're receiving. The Eucharist is treated casually, as a symbol rather than the actual body and blood of Christ. Carlo's message to Sophia addresses exactly these crises. His emphasis on the Eucharist, his warning about empty churches, his call for young people to learn the truth, all of it speaks directly to where the church is failing right now. And the fact that he's continuing this mission from heaven, appearing to children, performing miracles, all suggests that heaven is desperately trying to wake up a sleeping church. What should you do with Sophia's testimony? First, believe that miracles still happen. God hasn't stopped working supernaturally. He still heals. He still sends saints from heaven to help us. He still performs the impossible to prove that he's real and active. Second, take the Eucharist seriously. If Carlo's message from heaven focuses on the real presence, if God performs miracles specifically to point people toward the blessed sacrament, shouldn't that be your focus too? Attend Mass with reverence. Receive communion worthily. Spend time in Eucharistic adoration. Let the Eucharist be the center of your spiritual life. Third, share Sophia's story. Tell people about this miracle. Use it to start conversations about faith, about the Eucharist, about Carlo Acutis. The miracle was given partly so it could be shared. Don't keep it to yourself. Fourth, ask for Carlo's intercession. If he's appearing from heaven to heal children, he can certainly intercede for your needs too. Pray to him. Ask for his help. Invoke his powerful intercession for yourself and those you love. In the comments, commit to one specific action based on Sophia's testimony. Will you attend Eucharistic adoration this week? Will you learn more about Carlo Acutis? Will you share this story with someone who needs to hear it? Write it out and create accountability. The untold story of Carlo Acutis appearing to Sophia isn't just about one miraculous healing. It's about heaven's ongoing campaign to save souls through devotion to the Eucharist. It's about a young saint who loved Jesus so much in life that he continues working from heaven to bring people to that same love. It's about God using children to shame adults who have forgotten the basics of faith. Sophia's healing was medically impossible. Her knowledge of things she couldn't naturally know defies explanation. Her consistent, unwavering testimony across years of questioning proves this wasn't imagination or fever dreams. Something supernatural happened in that hospital room. Carlo Acutis appeared. He healed, he taught, he warned, and he's still working. May Sophia's miracle strengthen your faith. May Carlo's message convict your heart. May you recognize that the Eucharist is worth everything. And may you respond to heaven's call to return to what matters most: Jesus Christ, truly present, truly available, truly waiting for you in every Catholic church in the world. The miracle no one is talking about needs to become the miracle everyone knows about, not to make Sophia famous, not to sensationalize the supernatural, but because the message is too important to ignore. Carlo died defending the Eucharist. He continues defending it from heaven, and through Sophia's testimony, he's defending it still. Will you hear? Will you respond? Will you let this untold story become the truth that transforms how you live your faith? The choice is yours. The testimony is given. The miracle is documented. And Carlo Acutis from heaven continues pointing everyone toward the Eucharist, the source and summit of Catholic faith, the real presence of Jesus Christ, truly present, truly powerful, truly available to all who approach with faith.